Okay, through this gate is what is currently known as our wild garden here at Calthorpe Community Garden. This area is currently under development. However, I'll show you how we're currently using the space, but I will talk you through our plans to redevelop the area back here. So my name's Charlie. I am the gardener here at Calthorpe Community Garden. And I'd just like to begin by saying that as this is our wild garden, I don't see it as my role to be concerned about the planting here. If the purpose of this area is to be natural, then it's up to nature to decide what plants are going to grow. I see it as my job to help to continue to build and improve habitats within the area rather than concern myself with the planting. So as we redevelop this area, our emphasis will not be on the planting, it will be on habitat creation. Currently we have, for example here, we have a really large horseshoe shaped dead hedge, which is also infilled with more twiggy, smaller woody material. It is essentially a 15 feet wide compost pile, essentially. And to many gardeners who are concerned with aesthetics, this just looks like a mess. It's just a pile of rotting wood. But of course, to insects, to small mammals, this is Disneyland. This is the happiest place on earth. So this is a permanent part of our structure back here. This will stay. We will add to it rather than ever taking away. It's very large. It goes all the way around like here and creates a full horseshoe around the leading background to the other side. Talking of dead hedges, the actual boundary between the wild garden and the rest of the community garden is separated by a dead hedge here. This is one of the areas I would actually like to redevelop. There's lots of gaps in the fence. I suspect over the years woody material has been taken out of here to be used in other projects around the garden. So I'd like to take a lot of it out and relay it to look more solid, more dense, which will actually increase the amount of habitat it provides. But there's lots of life in it still. A lot of spiders currently, but I'm sure there's plenty of other things calling it home. We purposely have lots of messy areas here. For example, behind the door here is a whole pile of rotting composting material. There's lots of gravelly materials over here, which may be more attractive to solitary bees. We have a semi-dead hedge, lots of rotting logs laying towards the back of the fence line here that goes all the way along the length of this wild area. We have lots of native plants in the area. We have sambucus, we have birch, excuse me. This is an elder. We have blackthorns, we have hawthorns, all native trees providing sources of pollen, nectar and habitat for a wide range of wildlife. At the back of the site is where the pond is, and this is where the main area of the restoration is going to take place. Currently, the pond begins back here under this deck, actually moves all the way through this area, which is completely overrun with reeds and other weeds. And the pond should actually go right back here. You can even still see the remnants of the old liner that goes all the way back here. I'm not sure exactly when, but when the pond was initially first built, I believe in the early 90s, within a short space of time, there was a tear in the liner and it has never actually been repaired. So you can see how much water we lose and how much of the liner is exposed. Now, the only water in there now is rainwater. I am currently topping it up artificially but that is only because I am concerned that this is spawning season and there may well still be tadpoles in there, and as the water is evaporating, unfortunately they will not survive. So I am currently artificially topping it up until the tadpoles emerge. But the plan for redevelopment for the pond, we are going to recycle or upcycle different materials to create several smaller ponds within the existing footprint. So that's actually why we have, for example, the bathtub sat there. The bathtub will be turned into a pond. At the back of the property, we have this large vat here. That's going to become a pond. We also have a whiskey barrel and a kitchen sink. Now, these different materials will be sunken into the existing pond, retaining the existing liner. And then I'm going to backfill with soil around the bathtub, around the whiskey barrel, etc. on top of the existing liner. So the existing liner is going to massively slow down the drainage around the pond. So we will end up with several small ponds surrounded by areas of wet, boggy soil, which is much closer to the natural environment and much more beneficial to a wide variety of wildlife. Another benefit of doing it that way is, should we encounter problems with the pond in the future, I will only have to fix one small area, the size of a bathtub or a rain barrel, or whatever it is, rather than lose the entirety of the pond at once. So we can dig up and maintain one pond without losing all of the others. And actually another benefit from doing it that way is that particularly frogs and toads prefer smaller bodies of water. They seek smaller ponds. Their mentality is small pond would equal a smaller fish, so there's less predators to walk for their prey. Less predators for their eggs. So that the work for the pond redevelopment and the wild garden in general will begin later on this summer. We are also considering our options to possibly house animals in this area. Nothing confirmed as yet, but we possibly will look at our options for either keeping maybe chickens in this back section here, or possibly re-establishing an apiary that was once in this area. There's a dilapidated beehive here. There are, of course, lots of ethical concerns around beekeeping in the city, all of which would have to be carefully considered before we ever made any final decision around that sort of investment into the apiary here. But it is something that we are discussing. We are also looking to inoculate a lot of this rotting wood with mushroom spores to extend our food growing into this area. And we will be creating lots more general habitats, lots more wildlife piles, drilling logs for solitary bees, creating areas of sand, of rubble, of leaf mould. All of the different materials will attract different categories of wildlife. And hopefully, in time, we can massively increase the diversity of species that we host here. And out of all of the garden, this area is very much nature first. To go right back to what I said at the beginning, my job is not to be concerned about the planting here. My job is to look at how can I support the presence of nature, the presence of wildlife in this area. And I'm really excited to get stuck in. This is one of the few areas of the garden that personally I haven't had any real input in yet. But I'm very keen to get stuck in, to make it as rich and diverse as we possibly can. But also somewhere where people can come and visit, explore the different habitats, look at the pond. One of the reasons we keep this area sectioned off is because the pond is currently exposed, because the water level is low. It's not always clear there is a pond there. Our garden is very well used by local children, and we wouldn't want them coming back to such a secluded part of the garden where there is open water without supervision. However, we often do have children back here as long as they are with a responsible adult or a local school group with a teacher. But once the pond is redeveloped and becomes much more of a feature, hopefully we can start to engage those groups more and more and help to educate and inspire children about the beauty and the wonders of nature. Thank you very much.